everyone, and welcome to the Dream Team Digital Sessions. My name is Amanda Gillies. I'm a reporter on TV3 Story, and I'm also a proud supporter of the Sir Peter Blake Trust. The Dream Team is one of the main events held during Leadership Week, with hundreds of Kiwi leaders visiting schools around the country to share how important it is to have goals and dreams and how they've achieved their own. At the same time, thousands of young people are also tuning into sessions just like this one to hear the amazing stories of our Dream Team leaders too. The leaders who participate in the Dream Team follow in the footsteps of one of our greatest Kiwi leaders, Sir Peter Blake, who defied the odds by leading Team New Zealand to win the America's Cup yacht race not once but twice, and was also a leader for all the environmental work he did, particularly the work he did to encourage people to care for our oceans. In today's Dream Team session, we're going to hear from another amazing New Zealand leader, Michelle Dickinson, or Nano Girl as she's also known. Michelle's a superhero scientist who is focused on encouraging young Kiwis to get into science, to learn all about the world around us and discover how much fun it is to understand how things work and why. So, on that note, welcome Michelle.
Hi Amanda.
Michelle, look, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What were your dreams and goals growing up?
Sure. So I didn't think I wanted to be a scientist when I was a kid. I thought they were all boring old people, actually. But I knew that I was always curious about how things worked and how things worked around me. And I always got in trouble for taking things apart and figuring out, they called it breaking things. I just called it opening things and looking them up. So that curiosity was what I always had. And as I grew up and I got more curious, I realized that I could actually do that as a job. And so eventually became a scientist and then an engineer to be the person who opens things up and works out how things work. But when I was a kid, I didn't know I wanted to be a scientist, for sure.
So how do you go about being a scientist? What do you have to do to be a great scientist like yourself?
So to be a great scientist, you just have to keep asking questions. You just have to be curious about the world around you and admit that you don't always know the answer, but you can maybe look it up or do experiments to try and find out things. If we knew the answer for everything, there wouldn't be any scientists. It would be quite boring. So we're always looking for new answers to things. Are there more planets out there? Are different things living on planets? Can we have different species evolve? So we're always asking questions. So to be a good scientist, you just have to be curious.
Did you have an inspiration growing up that you wanted to be just like them?
So, to be honest, the person I wanted to be most like was my dad. So my dad taught me to be an engineer. He didn't have any qualifications, and so when I was growing up, he decided he wanted to learn how to become an engineer. So our dining table at home was full of devices and things, and he had this thing called a soldering iron that soldered circuits. And I said, "Dad, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm soldering circuits." So I learned how to solder with my dad. So he was the one who taught me that girls can be engineers too. I didn't know it was called engineering at the time. But then along the way, there have been so many role models and people I aspire to be like. Not all scientists, just great humans who, are peaceful, who are curious, who want to help make the world a better place. And I think it's good to have lots of people in your life who you look up to, and they don't necessarily have the jobs that you want to do, but they have the personality and the leadership style that you want to be like. Because I used to think that leaders are all just bossy people who tell people what to do. But what I've learned is a leader is a person who has a direction and wants to help other people go in the same direction for them. And the type of leaders I follow are people who want to make the world a better place. So that's my leadership style.
And what I love, as you mentioned, not many people think, scientists, ladies, girls. What's your inspiration? What do you want to say to other women out there and other young, girls out there, why it's important to follow your dreams?
So it's really interesting. When I ask people to draw me a scientist, they pretty much always draw me a man with a lab coat. And so my big passion is how do we change that? Because girls, in my opinion, make some of the best scientists in the world because they're curious, they see things from a different perspective, they have different experience. And because right now in the science industry, we have less girls than we do boys and less women than we do men. I want to change that dynamic so it's equal, because I think the best teams actually come from equal people being on the team, so you have different perspectives. And I think, one of my big complaints is that on TV we don't see many scientists who are women, and so I'd love to see more of that so you can have more greater role models. And more women doing science on TV would just be a great thing so that other people can see that women are scientists too, and then eventually women are engineers as well.
I love it. And we do see you on TV. Tell us a little bit about Nano Girl. We love Nano Girl. How did that come about?
So Nano Girl came from me going to schools and talking about what I do. So I'm a researcher in nanotechnology, which is really, really tiny things. And I was talking about nanotechnology in schools, and some of the kids said, oh, so you're like nano, like you do nano as a thing. I said, that's my thing. They're like, that must make you Nano Girl. And so that stuck. So thank you to all the school children who named me Nano Girl. So now it's stuck. And Nano Girl basically defines a principle of just following your dreams and doing what you want. It represents this small technology that I do, but it actually represents girls being able to be scientists and do fun, cutting-edge technologies.
And I guess it is. I mean, just you touched on that. Why is it so important to dream big and believe you can do it?
So we'll never come up with more scientific discoveries if we accept what is now. If we're never questioning what can we do next, how do we further improve, then we'll never improve who we are as humans, and we'll never come up with new discoveries. So dreaming big is all about pushing the boundaries. It's about being outside of your comfort zone. It's about challenging yourself and always trying to be a better person, whether that be better through personal growth or better by learning new things or being able to contribute to the planet in a better way. And so dreaming big is massive for me, to make sure that you're always pushing yourself to go one thing. I would say every day you should try and learn something new, so you're trying to better yourself every day. And to do that, and I always say if people laugh at your dreams, you're not dreaming big enough, because actually if you dream huge, even if you don't make your dreams, you're striving towards something that is huge and massive, and who knows what changes you could make in the world.
And what's next for Nano Girl? What's your next big dream?
Oh, so many things. So as a scientist, it's really interesting because I work in a lab where we're always trying to make new discoveries, and some of them don't work, and I love failing, because when you fail at experiments, you learn about why it didn't work and what you can do next. But the thing about a scientist is we never know what we're going to discover next. We always hope it's something, but usually the best discoveries are by accident. So usually when you try and do something and your experiment fails, you find out something else that you didn't know. So it's really hard to predict as a scientist what is next, but we're doing some really fun things with nanotechnology for the medical research field to help make better medicines for people.
Fantastic. So what are, just finally, some wise words do you think that you can pass on to our amazing young students today?
So I always have people say, oh, science is boring, and science in school is really different than science outside. So my advice is stay curious, even if you don't study science at school and you don't want to do science as a job in your real life. Keep being curious, like keep reading about science, keep asking questions, and never stop learning. So once you're done with school, you may think, oh, it's all over. But actually, if you learn for the rest of your life, it's so empowering. So stay curious, keep learning.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Michelle. That is such an inspiring story. I'm sure a lot of young people watching this will be feeling very inspired and will be thinking about a future career in science too. Now, we've also had some great questions for Michelle, which have been sent in from students all over the country. So first up, we have Lennox Crow from Blenheim. Now, he is asking, do you know if it would be possible in the near future to use nanotechnology to help fight diseases in the body, like little robot white blood cells?
So the answer is yes, and we were already doing it. So right now we have what are called nanoparticles, and we can put chemicals on the outside that carry drugs. So right now you may take medication that you swallow and you hope it goes around. We can get these little nanoparticles. Now they're not nanorobots, because a robot will have arms and legs, and they don't have those things. They're little nanoparticles that help deliver drugs in a much better and more efficient way around the body. So the answer is yes, we're already doing it, and they're getting better every day.
Fantastic. Now, Jacob from Auckland asks, what does Nano Girl mean?
So Nano Girl is short for the nanotechnology that I do the research of. And Nano Girl represents that every girl who wants to be a nanotechnologist can totally be. So I am not Nano Girl. I have little Nano Girl lab coats where anybody who wants to emulate nanotechnology and be a scientist can put the lab coat on and get to be Nano Girl.
Fantastic. Eva from Hawke's Bay, she would like to know, did you like science when you were little?
I liked science, but it probably wasn't my favourite subject. It wasn't until I was much older that I really enjoyed science at school. I didn't like the boring bits in the middle, and I'm not good at reading textbooks. I like the blowing things up and, Bunsen burners. So it wasn't my favourite, but because I knew it would help me understand questions, I kept with it, and now it's definitely my favourite subject.
Fantastic. Now, Phoebe from Auckland, if you could travel back in time, what would you tell your 12-year-old self?
I would tell my 12-year-old self to keep learning and understand that school is one place to learn, but actually there are so many other places to learn, and it's not just about school. So now you can go onto the internet and you can learn about all different things all around the world. So keep learning.
Fantastic advice. We've got our last one here from Harry from Dunedin. Were you ever called a geek because you like science?
I am still called a geek because I like science and I love it. I think it's something you can be proud of. Being a geek or a nerd just means you're passionate about something cool and exciting, so I wear it with pride.
Absolutely. We love geeky chic. It's good. Thanks so much to everyone who sent in a question for Michelle. They were fantastic. Now, hopefully, if you're watching at home or school, you've also downloaded a dream card from the Sir Peter Blake Trust website, or your teacher has printed one out for you. This is the Dream Team 2016 card. Here's what they look like. So now it's your turn to think about your own dreams. We want you to think about where you want to be in the future. What are you doing? What have you achieved? How did you get there? Think about your passions and interests, your strengths and skills, any areas for improvement, people who inspire you and who you might want to be inspiring in the future. On your dream card or a piece of paper, write down your dream for yourself and your dream for New Zealand, something that you would like to see our country achieve, or what would help ensure a brighter future for us all. You can share these dreams with your families and or your classmates and teachers too. And feel free to ask for help from people around you if you need it. So let's get writing. Great work, everyone. So you've just completed step 1 towards achieving your dreams. Congratulations. The next 3 steps are 1. Make a plan with the actions you may need to take in order to achieve your dream. You can download an action plan from sirpeterblaketrust.org, or your teacher may have one for you. 2. Back yourself and believe you can. 3. Don't wait until tomorrow. Get started on achieving those dreams today. So dream big, everyone. Believe you can, and you could be one of New Zealand's greatest leaders too. We'd love to hear about your goals and dreams too, so please share them with us by sending the Sir Peter Blake Trust an email to kelly@sirpeterblaketrust.org, and you could be in to win an awesome pair of red socks just like Sir Peter Blake's. Thanks everyone, ka kite anō, and see you next time.